Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Fitness Education Series produced by the Australian Fitness Academy. It's like progressive overload for your brain. I'm your host, Tom Rock, and today's episode I've got Eddie. Hello, Eddie.
Hi, it's Tom.
Thanks. Steph, how are you going?
Hello, everyone.
Eddie's with us. Eddie's with us.
You caught me by
I thought we'd
surprise.
get a couple of people on this morning and just discuss CrossFit with really no direction, but it's an interesting topic I think to get people's thoughts on. Today the CrossFit Games started. I don't know if anyone was around it. Eddie, you follow it?
Somewhat, yes.
Somewhat,
I have
yep.
quite a few friends in CrossFit.
Yep, cool. So Eddie's done a bit of CrossFit, which is good. I haven't officially done CrossFit, but I've obviously seen it done and followed it a little bit before. Steph is from PT land. That's probably
Yes.
not CrossFit based.
No, not CrossFit based at all.
Different clientele.
I've looked at it as in looking at it from a market research point
Yep.
of view, and some clients inquiring about whether they think they could progress onto that.
Cool.
So I've sort of looked at it from that point of view, but I've never participated or
Yep.
not involved.
Yeah, I've always sort of looked at it, and I guess I like following very structured training programs that sort of progress over time. And CrossFit always seems the opposite to that. Like you just go in and you do something different every time. So it's like,
Variety.
how do you actually progressively overload? So that's what I've sort of been like. I potentially wouldn't enjoy CrossFit too much because I just don't have the structure around the programs. Yeah, you've done CrossFit, Eddie. What is it?
Yes, I've joined a few CrossFit
You've joined a
gyms.
few. So what is it? Because there's no real structure, is there? Apart from like each session is structured, obviously.
Surprisingly, lately there is a lot of coaches how they plan the daily workouts in the morning and in the evenings. It's designed that if you attend the gym consistently, we can see some sort of periodization and some sort of progressive overload.
Ah,
Yeah, so they actually do training blocks now.
wow.
For example, Schwartz's CrossFit, which is just one or two blocks down from us. I was there for a few months and
Yep.
they did exactly that. Those guys produce some of the best athletes in Melbourne, though.
Wow.
So yeah, it's CrossFit Melbourne. So yeah, they've been around for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, very very serious. Very good at what they do. You do have some other CrossFit gyms that are a bit more recreational,
Yep.
or like designed to be more accessible. Um, I've heard of all different types of programming in different CrossFit gyms. Some are more strength based.
Yeah. Okay.
For example, Schwartz is very strength based with their programming.
Yep.
Other CrossFit gyms not so much. So you do have to kind of try each
Yeah,
CrossFit gym
okay.
to see if their programming suits you and whether your body responds well to it. But they have actually made quite a bit of progress since I started. I started CrossFit in 2015,
Yep.
and since then to now, which has been nearly 10 years, yeah, they've definitely been evolving.
Yep.
Their athletes are just getting younger and stronger. Like the
Yeah.
athletes today in the CrossFit Games compared to back then, nearly 10 years ago, completely different.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's actually, if you're looking at doing CrossFit to compete, I would say start young.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
it's
Some of their lists they put up are crazy.
you're now seeing some crazy numbers, especially in the Olympic weightlifting components that they do. They are, yeah, it's actually just very impressive, yeah, what they're doing. They're doing those numbers in Olympic weightlifting, and they can do all those other things that they do
Like
too.
the endurance stuff, and
Exactly.
I think that's the Olympic weightlifting is probably like it's like the fun aspect of CrossFit and people, but that's also the potential like drawback, or people probably look at that and go, I can't do that.
Yeah, a fear or a barrier or
Yep.
uncertainty of going into this whole community where it seems to be maybe a little bit overwhelming
Yep.
or daunting if you're new to that style.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think they make a lot of allowances for it though. They always scale or can scale. So if you go in, you can't do a clean or a snatch.
Yes,
They just give
and
you something else
that
to
comes
do.
down to the culture because
Yeah.
you can see a sort of toxic culture where you're encouraged to push beyond your capacity.
Yeah, I think that's
And-
one of the other things that's like, from the
Concerning.
outside you see, and you're like, oh, injuries, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and sure, there's always competition in the gym. You know, you might want to put up some numbers to compete with the
Yeah.
person next to you. But in my experience, I've seen a lot of gyms where people are quite sensible with their choice of weights and how hard they push themselves because they know their body and they're playing more of the long game.
Yep.
So I do see a lot of good examples. Every now and then, someone's gonna push themselves a little too far. It happens, me included. But yeah, it's those things. I guess you just learn by doing
Yeah.
that, as long as you don't hurt yourself.
Yep. It probably goes come down to the center, like you said. There's a lot. I didn't realize there's so much different programming. Like I always just see like you get the workout of the day, and it just comes out whatever it is, and you just do that. And they generally seem a little bit more aerobic based sometimes and sort of strength based. So I'm doing like cleans or snatches, but for a lot of reps rather than like your power based sort of explosive and then rest period sort of
Rest
thing.
periods, I always get the impression that rest periods are really low in CrossFit.
Yeah, so you're sort of doing these crazy heavy power based technical lifts
Yep.
under a lot of fatigue, which
Yep.
is not the usual way I would sort of program them.
It's very surprising because it does seem very unconventional if
Yeah.
you just study fitness and you learn just the basics. But
Programming, yeah.
I recommend people just try it for a
Yeah.
few months and see how your body responds.
Yep.
I noticed I was actually getting quite big.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, like in terms of hypertrophy.
Yeah, wow.
I was getting bigger and I was getting stronger.
Yep.
Muscles just felt tight all the time.
Mm.
They could never get a break.
Yep.
But it actually worked. So yeah, a little counterintuitive, but yeah, it does seem to work well. And when I was looking into their programming, this is a long time ago, nearly 10 years ago, they have Dave Castro,
Yeah.
Mike Bergner. So the minds they have behind CrossFit when they started it,
Yep.
they're quite credible people in terms of their track record.
Yeah, I think the concept's quite cool to see like who's the fittest on earth, I guess. Did anyone see the workout, the first workout for CrossFit came out this morning?
Ah.
Well,
So-
what was it?
So you've got to do 21 dumbbell snatches,
Cool.
then 21 burpees, then 21 dumbbell snatches with the other arm, and then 21 burpees, and then you do the same thing, so 21s, and then 15, and then 9.
Okay, so that makes sense because but I think from the outside it looks
Yeah.
like torture because
It does, yeah. It's like, well, I've got to do,
Yeah.
all these reps and burpees and
Yeah, no
dumbbell
rest.
snatches. Like my
Yeah.
shoulders just going to absolutely be cooked.
Why does it make sense? Tell us.
it makes sense because it forces you to become more efficient with the dumbbell snatch. So what they're trying to do to hit those numbers is least effort, maximum result, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I've got Olympic weightlifting. So I'm more Olympic weightlifting. So when I went to the CrossFit gym and I was doing reps of cleans and snatches with other people,
Yep.
I noticed straight away their endurance was much better than mine.
Yeah.
An Olympic weightlifter would do a lift, might rest for a minute or two, and then
Yep.
do
Like I
another
was
lift.
saying before,
Longer.
I used to
Yeah.
sort of do my reps and then I'll rest and
Yeah, up to like
yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Exactly. But these guys are used to just doing them consecutively in sets of 5, sometimes 10,
Crazy.
as much as 20, depending on their workouts.
Yep.
So their capacity was actually much better than mine.
Mm.
What I noticed was like on the technical side, I was a bit more clean with my lifts.
Yep.
But they definitely had the engine.
Yeah.
For
Yep.
doing that workload, and they were very efficient. For example, doing box jumps.
Yep.
I would be very methodical and try to maximize explosiveness.
Yeah,
Whereas
they
someone doing CrossFit, they're just trying to do it
Get
as
the number.
efficiently as possible to get through the reps as quick as they can.
Yep. Yeah, it's a different sort of mindset you got to take into training, I guess, and that's where I think you look at and you go, they can be sort of higher injury risk movements if you're doing it under fatigue. Do you think?
Yeah. So it depends because risk is different for everyone, right?
Yep.
So giving that to beginner, I'd be careful.
Yeah.
Because
Yep.
we do know with the dumbbell snatch, if you can't stabilize that shoulder or
Yep.
get that overhead position dialed in, you're more likely to pull something in that
So
joint.
on that thought then, what if I was a beginner to CrossFit, which I would be?
Yep.
Yep.
Do they offer, come and try CrossFit for this week for beginners and take me through the moves? How would it work for a beginner?
Yeah, they can be quite beginner friendly. I found some gyms are more beginner friendly than
Yep.
others.
So again,
because
do your
they-
research.
Yeah, they basically cater to their demographic. But I've seen some CrossFit gyms where you can't even drop the weight. For example, there's one
okay.
in the CBD that's
Wow.
on the rooftop. So you won't. So that's a different type of gym
Yep.
if you're not dropping weights.
Yep.
So yeah, you do have to just do some free trials, and shop around. But there's definitely a CrossFit gym for you that can get you started
Yeah.
well if you're interested. And what I love about CrossFit, I don't do it anymore, but it introduces you to so many movements you wouldn't normally do
Yep.
in conventional gym training, and you learn a lot. For example, I can now do a ring muscle up, like strict,
Yep.
but I would never have even thought of doing that if I never tried CrossFit.
Yep.
Olympic weightlifting would never have pursued it if I didn't do CrossFit.
Yep.
And I think sometimes when we train in the gym, we get stuck in our own biases and our own preferences. So our training starts to get so skewed towards our favorite exercises that we stagnate. So CrossFit, it just forces you to keep getting outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, pushes boundaries.
Yeah, because you'll be introduced to new exercise or a new way of doing exercise, and you just have to adapt in the moment.
Yep.
So it's quite it's quite good if you take it for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think people just see like the bad side of it because you look on social media and some crazy some person trying to do something their body doesn't like.
Yep.
You see that a lot, but I've seen so many cases of CrossFit done well. There is always the risks, but that comes with any sport.
Yep.
And
Yeah. I think as long as you get somewhere that, I guess, tailors it to a beginner or your movement, because not everyone's going to have the mobility to do a clean or a snatch.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're a good coach would probably change it, I guess, to the workout.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of sensible coaches when they know when to push people, but they also know when to tell them, hey, we should hold back for today.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, no, good chat, good chat.
Yeah.
I think it's an interesting topic, and it's one of those fitness things that are definitely out there and quite popular. So definitely give it a shot, like Eddie said. I think just be ready to
Well,
try something new.
With CrossFit, you're not necessarily the best at anything. So you're not going to be the best weightlifter, not going to be the best gymnast,
Yep.
or the best endurance athlete. But you will feel like for example, if we had a zombie apocalypse, I would want a CrossFitter.
Yeah.
I would want a CrossFitter
They're ready
by
for
my
everything.
side.
Yep.
So those functional skills and strength.
Yep.
Exactly, because they have a lot going on. So I think it's great for. Did you guys watch Physical 100?
No.
On Netflix?
Oh, I watched bits and pieces. I didn't get to the end of it, but
Oh, you saw the CrossFitter?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did very well.
really well. Yep.
Yeah.
So I think, you get that interesting mix. At the CrossFit Games, you see all these
Yep.
crazy athletes doing crazy things, but yeah, it's a interesting mix of, I think, endurance and weightlifting sort of in one, which is not
Common.
common, no.
Yeah, not commonly programmed. And what
Yeah.
about the sense of community? They always seem to be quite community driven.
Yes, really,
Connection.
really good. For example, my last housemate, she went to a CrossFit gym in Brazil.
Yep.
A different culture in Brazil, but after workouts, they'd go drinking for the rest of the day.
Oh dear.
So that was a thing. Yeah, that was a thing. But
Controversial.
Cancels out the
she
fitness, but
got
that's
really
fine.
fit though. She got really fit.
Yeah.
But the community and the connection and social seems to be a part of the CrossFit
Yeah.
method.
And I think what it is that shared struggle. Because you all have a very common goal, but then you're all kind of sweating it in at the same workout together.
Yep.
And I find in the gym, it's more about individual struggle.
Yes.
Everyone's got their own plan, their own workout, their own goals. So CrossFit kind of brings everyone together under the same goal in the gym.
Yep.
And yeah, it creates the environment for community. So generally, you're going to see these guys hang out a lot outside of the gym.
Yep.
So I've had a friend who started CrossFit about 2 years ago. I hardly see him now because he hangs out with his CrossFit friends now.
Yeah. That's a good thing too. Like, I think a lot of the smaller gyms can potentially still do that even with normal members, but if you go to like any of the bigger chain gyms, it's just sort of go in, do your workout, you don't know anyone.
You're an individual.
Yeah, that's another good, I guess, positive side of fitness,
Yes.
and that's Tyler Gym, is they do that really well, is create
Yeah.
that community atmosphere.
Yeah. It's a good
Sure.
good point.
Yeah, they definitely have a lot worth considering if you're on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy to, I guess, to look at it as some crazy physical activity that you shouldn't do. But once you're in it, things do start to make sense. Of course, it's not perfect. Like no style of training is.
Yeah.
There's always going to be risks.
Yep.
But as long as you're managing it, it can be a very good experience.
No, I like it. Definitely worth a shot. Well, yeah, hopefully you enjoyed our bit of a chat on CrossFit, guys. If you have tried CrossFit or you've got any opinions, shoot me an email at tom@afa.com.au. Love to hear your thoughts on CrossFit and your experiences if you've had any. Or check out the CrossFit Games. See what comes out. I think the new workout every week. See what the go is and have a look at it. Might be something you want to try, or just be like, wow, that's next level fitness, really.
You're going to see a lot of muscle.
You see a lot of muscle, yeah.
A lot of shirtless people,
yeah,
guys, sweaty.
yeah, they're big individuals, well built.
Yeah.
Have you noticed people do CrossFit? They all have very similar physique as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They're all very fit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
It's really interesting.
They're sort of bigger than I think they would be. They're very strong.
Yeah. Big.
But
the guys are big.
Yeah, the guys are big. You think if they just got a lot of endurance,
And
more
the
endurance
girls
than they
are
look
usually
like.
ripped too.
Pardon?
The girls are usually ripped. I mean,
They are, yeah.
Yeah, you
It's
see.
sort of, they always look like they're geared more towards strength, but then they do these crazy workouts that are just like
Continuous.
21 snatches after continuous
Yeah.
workouts. So it's mind blowing, really.
Yep.
Get into it.
So next week, next month, guys, you'll hear about Steph's experience with CrossFit.
Oh, no
Steph can-
promises. No promises.
Anyway, guys, I hope you have a great weekend. Get in touch if you've got any thoughts on this topic or any topics you'd like me to cover or discuss. Always happy to cover whatever you guys want. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for jumping on, Steph.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye,
Eddie.
guys.